the Genesis gv70, which on February 21st, the first one rolled off the line at Hyundai's plant in Montgomery, Alabama. Another car being made in North America. So I think EVs are going to start to be made in North America a lot more. And I think the reason behind that is, for one, they're just heavier. And two, they're building these new production lines anyways, and the US is super trying to convince people to start building stuff here. So I think that's why we're going to start seeing that a lot more. And I think that's a good thing overall. And this is some wild stuff. So Hyundai's Genesis line has never been made anywhere outside of South Korea. So this is the first Genesis model to ever enter production in the United States, and first ever Genesis model produced outside of South Korea. So Genesis announced, that the GV70 will produce at the Alabama plant alongside the gasoline version, and the Genesis is expected to be equipped with around a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, capable of 283 miles on a single charge. I kind of wish they would have put a 100 kilowatt pack in there, because I think we could have bumped that up to 350-ish, which would have been a good for an SUV. The problem with putting these smaller packs in there, I think 100 is about the sweet spot, especially as things get more and more efficient. But I think the problem with putting just a 100 kilowatt hour pack or 77 kilowatt hour pack in there is you get your 283 miles of range. Now, that's fine in most of the southern of the US and stuff close to the equator, but the second you go away from there and say you want to drive your Genesis in the winter, that range on the end of December through end of February, maybe early December, you're going to get half that range. Now you only have 140 miles, and depending on how cold it really is, you might get even less. So the problem with doing lower mileage range like that is just you lose range so fast in cold environments that you can't do these low battery packs if your efficiency is not going to be that much higher. And if your efficiency is going to rely on temperature a bunch, then forget it. Just put the bigger pack in there. But how does this vehicle affect the market? The question everybody wants to know. I think it's good. I think SUVs, trucks are kind of the bigger candidates for going electric first. I think that I think regular sedans are going to be harder to kind of breach that market, I think a lot of people that buy sedans are buying them because they're cheap and small. And I think EVs, can be small. If you go small battery, range is gone. So I think that this will help going this way first, because this is where most people shop, is SUVs anyways, and then probably, pickup trucks, and then sedans. So maybe not specifically in that order, but roughly in that order. And I think that's why going this way first is going to be much smarter for them to do. So what steps do you need to think? What steps do you think automakers need to take to ensure their electric vehicles are accessible and affordable for the average consumer? I think that it's just going to take time. The components are expensive. Batteries need to start using different materials. The problem right now is battery materials are expensive and take a lot of money to make. So they need to figure out a way to make that cheaper. And if not, then we're just going to have to wait for these vehicles to drop down into the used market and come down in price till they reach a lot of consumers. And there's not much you're going to be able to do about that. You're going to have to just kind of wait. But it's good to see that these even higher end brands are getting into it, which is amazing.